guys, today I'm gonna do a video on LetMeExplainStudios again and her backyard stories. Anyways, let's get started.
Ah, the backyard, the personal wonderland of suburban cave animals, a place of curiosity and imagination, a minefield of anthills and lost cottages, a peaceful refuge where the greatest
The girlfriend fairy.
childhood memories are.
Excuse me?
She did it! Hello, my geeks and geeks, my explorators and entertainers, my little doodle lollies. We're all back to Param here. Backyards are great. They have grass and trees and fences.
Well, mine doesn't.
For kids, they get to
Besides a lemon tree.
see the plains of Africa, the jungles of Papua New Guinea.
I think the jungles of Papua New Guinea would be more exciting because like you can't see where you're going.
The great wilderness of Alaska.
I don't think Alaska would be the Great Wilderness of Alaska would be very fun to explore in the backyard.
Or the perfect place for a treehouse.
Sadly, I don't think I can get a treehouse because I don't have any trees that in my backyard that are available, and the ones that are, we can't build a tree house there because we don't even buy our house. For Oodle, we didn't even buy our house. We're renting.
Can I just go on record to say that I freaking
Anime.
love treehouses?
Wait, then how does it have a hand if it's a treehouse?
I mean, look at these. They're mystical, twistful, full of character, and away from people. Look at this one. I want to live there. I want to hook it up with Wi-Fi and a sauna. I want all the local kids to call me the witch of the woods and tell stories about how I'll steal your toes if you get too close to my house. I want to be a ghost story.
That's my favorite line from this video.
Wait, we're off topic. Backyard, a staple of suburban living. I lived in suburbia as a kid with all the trinity. Neighborhood kids to play with, nearby woods to explore, a school I could walk to and from, and you can't forget your standard issue bully that lives up the street. My bully kid was named Jocko. Now Jocko wasn't your run-of-the-mill bully. You know, big thundering monsters that you stay away from at all costs, like a Kanker or a black flounder. No. Jocko was more like Buford from Phineas and Ferb. Still a bully, but one that got involved in the adventures, and you invited over for a game of baseball sometimes. He was a weird one for sure. One time we were over at his house, in his backyard, and he needed to, release the hounds. But instead of going inside...
Why did I laugh? That's weird.
Just like a normal person, he popped a squat right there in the grass and made fertilizer.
It's funny because most people call it flan, but I never heard the word, and I just read it flan. I've never heard of it until I watched a couple of her videos, and I always read it as flan. I've never heard the word, but I always read it as flan.
For once found a lighter in our backyard and decided that he wanted to make a campfire. My sister and I were just like, yeah, sure, sounds fine. At some point during our tomfoolery of
Report card.
gathering things to incinerate in our campfire, Jocko wanted to act all tough, so he pointed the lighter at me and my sister. Just so happened, at that moment, my mom looked up from doing the dishes and saw that through the kitchen window. And she ran out screaming at us. Unsurprisingly, Jocko didn't. And she caught us too because we weren't even messing around at that point. We were gonna light a freaking fire. Give the hellfire and brimstone creature something to talk about, if you know what I mean.
Save us from the unholy demons known as the Pine Children. Thank you, Jesus.
Actually, my dad did call me a firebug sometimes when I was a kid because I'm something to like fire.
Yeah, who wouldn't like fire?
Hey, it's warm and pretty and gets rid of evidence. Everything you want in a boyfriend.
I'm not a girl.
The big story that I
Okay, that sounded weird.
remember about Jocko was in the trees. One day, my sister and I were playing baseball with Jocko in our backyard when one of us hit the ball over the fence into the neighborhood.
She really did do the thing. She said, and you would invite over for a game of baseball sometimes, and that's what they did.
Neighbor's yard. Our neighbor wasn't home, and their backyard gate
215-1516
was locked, so Jocko came up with a bright idea. He began climbing our giant oak tree so he could swing over to the neighbor's tree, climb down, and retrieve the ball. And Rachel and I just stood there watching him climb, periodically going, "You're gonna fall! We're gonna have to call the fire department to get you down!" Which I think only strengthened his resolve to make his brilliant plan work because he just kept climbing. Now strap in for this one, explainers, it gets good. When he got close to the neighbor's tree and was about 15 feet off the ground, He grabbed a pencil-thin branch in his hands and actually tried to swing to the neighbor's tree like he was freaking Tarzan. Apparently, Jocko has never seen a Wile E. Coyote cartoon because then he would have known better.
Yeah, I've never seen one either.
Who says cartoons rot your brain? Guess what? The branch snapped.
I like that sound effect. Pretty sure it took longer for him to fall down. Shorter for him to fall down.
Ah!
Now I know why he screamed.
Many
Ads.
years ago, this candle blessed our family.
So that's why he screamed. There was an ad coming for something I don't want or care about.
Mom!
That's also one of the my favorite lines in this video. Mostly because it sounds cool. The mom thing.
Jocko had not only fallen, no, he had crashed through the neighbor's wet bar, which my sources tell me is a bar or counter equipped with running water and a sink for serving alcoholic beverages in a home environment. And Jocko had completely obliterated this thing. It was like a dinosaur had stepped on it, just went. Jocko was screaming so loud that his dad, who was working in their front yard
Meanwhile,
up the street, heard it, came running, and kicked in the neighbor's gate to get to him. He ended up having a broken arm, which I'm still surprised to this day that that's all that happened. From the damage that I saw to this wet bar, I'm surprised he's not dead. There should have been some fractured ribs or brain damage or something. Well, I guess if you're meant to hang, you won't drown. He also had to pay the neighbor back for the wet bar, just to add insult to injury. Rolling on with the theme of breaking things, my sister and I actually did the childhood cliche of breaking a window with a baseball. You thought that opening skit was just a witty farce, huh? No, actually happened. My sister and I were in the backyard playing baseball with the neighborhood kids. Big surprise there. I was pitching, she was batting, I tossed her the ball, she hit it veered off to the right, and crashed right through my parents' bedroom window. And everyone in that backyard, except Rachel, hit the deck. My parents came racing outside and found my sister standing there with bat in hand, completely flustered. Both of my parents were mad, but my mom told Rachel to go get her piggy bank because she was gonna pay for it. But Dad jumped in and said, "Hey, that's not fair, it was an accident. Every kid gets to break one window with a baseball." Yeah, that was my dad for you. He never forgot what it was like to be a kid, so he wanted the most fulfilling childhood for us, including all of the classic mistakes like breaking a window with a baseball. So now I gotta tell one on me. About time, I suppose. When I was about 9 and should have known better, I'd sometimes pass the time in the backyard by taking an old fence post, laying it over the side of our raised garden beds, and jumping on the end of it, launching an array of different materials into the air. Rocks, pebbles, grass, sticks, anything.
I'm terrified of dolls.
This is what we did before we had the internet, kids. One day I really wanted to launch a ball off of my makeshift catapult, but there was a problem. The ball would roll off of the fence post before I could launch it. Physics. Who knew?
I think everyone knew that.
And in order to complete my little experiment, I needed an assistant. Oh, David! My little brother David was about 3 at the time and was very susceptible to suggestion, which worked out perfectly for me, not so perfectly for him. I told him on the count of
I love little children. They're just so cute. I love music, video games, and little kids.
3, he was going to put the ball on the fence post so I could quickly jump on the other end before it rolled off. Simple enough, wouldn't you say? But when I counted to 3 to commence our experiment, he did something a little unforeseen. He leaned down directly over the fence post to very carefully place the ball. And by the time I looked over and saw him doing that, it was too late. My entire weight came down and the fence post smacked him right in the face. Well, I'm dead. I bequeath everything to my Teddy Ruxpin.
That's also one of my favorite lines. That's what I do whenever I'm in trouble. I'm like, well, I'm dead. See you guys.
David rightfully screamed at the top of his lungs and ran inside to Mom and Dad, who were not happy at all. David's whole face swelled up and there was a puncture wound on his cheek that was maybe an inch away from his eye, and he still has a scar there to this day. I got in a lot of trouble and my parents yelled at me that I could have blinded him. even though it was an accident and he wasn't supposed to put his face over the catapult. But I felt really bad, to the point where I still felt bad years later into adulthood when someone would bring up this story. But now, I've animated it and shown it to 1 million people, so it holds no more power over me anymore. Animation, my antidepressant. So yeah, backyards, imagination, magic, wonder, childhood trauma, you get the idea. But seriously guys, go spend some time outside, get some sunshine and fresh air, it builds character. It's also really good for your mental health.
So that was my reaction, and she's my favorite YouTuber. And also, if you're wondering why I'm watching all of these, look at the first thing I said just a second ago. So, and remember to leave a like and subscribe on this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.